Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to DuckTales episode 19. Yeah, unfortunately we're only doing one today because one, we are a day late, and also because we have to do Steins Gate, and I'm going to my weekly Bible study tonight, so yeah, just don't have the time to do more than one, unfortunately. Last we left off, we just had some more fun with Fenton Crackshell Cabrera, aka Gizmo Duck, aka Lin-Manuel Miranda. I just love hearing his voice in this. Like, I love Lin-Manuel Miranda in general. I love Hamilton. I love Moana. I just love his work. He was even in The Odd Life of Timothy Green, an old Disney movie that was... Like, it kind of flew under the radar, and no one really had any strong opinions on it, to my knowledge. Not even myself. I'm just kind of like, it was good. It wasn't bad or anything, but it's like, I never had any strong thoughts on it. And I hadn't heard, at least, of anyone else having any either. It just kind of, again, flew under the radar. But he was in that. He's going to be in the new Mary Poppins Returns movie. He's getting to be a lot bigger. And spread out more than just with Hamilton fame, which I like. And I like that he's a voice in DuckTales. It just works for him, I think. But, so yeah, I don't know if this episode is going to have anything to do with last, and honestly, most likely not. But I'm interested to see where we go. I'm wondering if we're going to get any more stuff with Lena before the finale. Because, as I said before, I know that the finale does feature Magica Dispel. And I know that Lena is apparently related to Magica. Her niece, I think it was. I think she called Magica Aunt Magica. So, all I know at this moment is that Magica is a part of it, and so I assume Lena's going to be as well. So, are we going to get more of her before that, or not? It's hard to say, because the series tends to be pretty episodic for the most part. But it's like one of those things that also integrates continuity, character development, and stuff that we'd seen in the past into each episode, even if we don't notice it. Little bits of character development will stick with these characters and stuff, and I like that. I really do. And I just like this show. It's a really fantastic reboot. Like, cartoons have had some bad luck with some reboots in the past years, from Teen Titans Go to Powerpuff 2016. It's good to see a reboot like this that is just really solidly good. And I hope that we can continue that when She-Ra comes out next month. I hope that reboot's great as well. And heck, we've even had Voltron in the past few years that has been pretty darn good too. And that's a reboot. Legendary Defender is, like, I think, like, the third or fourth reboot of the series altogether. But yeah, I don't know anything about this episode. I don't know, like, who it's going to focus on. I don't know, like, any kind of creatures or mythology or anything it's going to have in it. I have watched a few episodes again, just in the past couple weeks with my father, because I showed him, like, 5-6 episodes before, and like months ago, and we decided to watch a few more and everything, and he enjoys it. He's enjoying it. But yeah, I'm really interested to see some more of this, to see maybe some more Lena, maybe some more stuff learning about Magica or something. I don't know. Even if it's nothing related to all of the big story stuff, even if it's just another episodic adventure, this show does that really well. This show does episodic stuff really well, like better than most other shows. So I'm really, really hoping to see some more of that as well before the season ends. Because honestly, it kind of reminds me of Gravity Falls in the way it handles its episodic adventures. And I don't remember the original DuckTales being this good with that. But I mean, it's been a long time, so... Either way, we're going to get into this, because I do have, as I mentioned, I do have Steins Gate 0 to record as well. And by the way, if you are not seeing this until late tonight, like 9 p.m. and onward Eastern Time, I do apologize. It's just that means I wasn't able to get to editing and uploading before I left for my Bible study. Either way, so when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts. And will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, that was fun. Scrooge has an other bin filled with the most dangerous, most mystical, most just, I guess you could say, impressive stuff that he's collected over his years as an adventurer. And they include stuff like this dream catcher that shows you your worst nightmares, this a freaking unicorn or sword horse, if you want to call it that. Really interesting. And of course he put his #1 dime in there on occasion if he needs to protect it, basically. And Magica is having Lena convince Webby to search for it. And at first, I swear, I thought it was really happening. Like, I thought they had found the dime, and I thought Webby was being turned into a puppet. There was no real evidence that it was just the Dreamcatcher. I mean, yes, the Dreamcatcher was built up, and it did end up being properly set up from the earlier in the episode, so it didn't come out of nowhere or anything. But there wasn't really anything to tell us that that was what was happening. It didn't give us any evidence, and I kind of like that. I like it when a show or a movie does that kind of thing, like a dream sequence or some kind of a waking nightmare kind of situation like this, where it's like you don't actually know what's happening at first, but then when it does, again, it was actually built up earlier in the episode to where it makes sense. It's like, oh, okay. And the thing is, considering I did think it was real, when Webby was turned into a puppet, like that was one thing, and I still love the fact that the puppet was in the form of the original Webby design from the old series and stuff. That was one thing, but then when she was disintegrated, that freaked me out, because I was like, holy shit. And my mind was still thinking this was real, so it's like, maybe that wasn't actually Webby, maybe Magica just teleported her and put a doll in her place or something. That's where my mind was going, because I didn't want to obviously believe Webby was dead. But then, like, when Lena wakes up and it's revealed the Dreamcatcher's like, oh, okay. Okay. That was pretty much my thoughts, and I was breathing a sigh of relief, because, you know, Webby's not only just one of my favorite characters here, but it's like, I don't want someone to die, you know? But yeah. So Lena is working with Magica to try and find the dime and everything, because apparently the dime can either bring Magica back or disconnect her from Lena or something. Based on the nightmare, if Lena knows what happens when Magica gets the dime, I guess she just disconnects from her? I guess that's how it works. I don't know for sure, of course, but maybe. I was thinking that somehow getting the dime would bring her back, like, straight up. I don't know. We'll have to find out, I guess, as it gets closer to the finale. But at the end there, Magica was able to not only just stop Lena from speaking and revealing the secret, which Lena at that point clearly wanted to do, but she was able to straight up possess her body, which, according to Magica, she herself didn't know she could do. She possessed Lena's body and is now in full control, which is obviously bad. I like how this storyline is progressively getting more and more intense. It's definitely it's definitely increasing in its in just everything it's showing, in its intensity, in its drama, in its even scare factor. Like, again, I was legitimately freaking out when I thought Webby had been disintegrated. Um, because it's just like, it's showing how dangerous Magica could possibly be. And, I mean, obviously, I already know that Magica can be pretty dangerous. She's Scrooge's biggest enemy and everything. But that was, even though that was just a nightmare of Lena's, I think there was probably some truth to it. It kind of view it like Ruby. Remember in the last volume of Ruby when Emerald freaked out at Cinder being dead, and she her powers went out of control and it formed this gigantic, horrifying Salem illusion? Remember that Ozpin in Oscar's body said that that was Salem. It was just an illusion, but an all too real one. As in the, yeah, Salem's obviously not that big, but her presence, her power, all of that was represented there. And that she is really that much of a threat. And that she is really that terrifying. I kind of feel it's the same way here. Lena's nightmare here. Lena, I think, would obviously know how terrifying and powerful her aunt can be. Magica is probably, I mean, I would assume, the strongest magic user in this universe. And that Scrooge probably only defeated her in the first place using his wit, his intelligence. Basically by tricking her. So I assume that all of the stuff that happened in that nightmare, she could do. Is stuff that she could actually do. We'll have to see, though. I will say, though, Catherine Tate is phenomenal. And I've said it before, but I just love that she and David Tennant are working together again. Because they were fantastic working off of each other in Doctor Who. I loved Catherine Tate as Donna Noble. She was one of my favorite companions in Doctor Who, by far. And I loved her entire story arc, where she became the most important woman in the world, basically. The Dr. Donna. But I haven't seen her in much of anything else. And now that she's voicing Magica, the biggest enemy in all of DuckTales, that's huge. That's a big role. DuckTales has always been hugely popular. People have loved it for decades now. It's just one of those cartoons that was always a hit. And this new series so far has been receiving nothing but praise. People adore it. And having the biggest villain be reintroduced in this way, in this reboot, having her come in as this malevolent force behind a character who otherwise is basically a good person being used, I like that. And I like that Lena is feeling a lot of the time like she doesn't have a choice. Until the very end here, when she chooses to betray Magica for the sake of her friend. Because Webby, she's grown to care for Webby so much. And I just love this story arc with them. I love how they're bringing this up. And how it's all coming to a head with the Season 1 finale. I really wish we could do more today. I really wish we could, but I just don't have the time with having to do Steins Gate Zero as well. Hopefully next week I won't get a day behind on DuckTales so we can get to more episodes. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It was really great. But I want to hear what you think. Tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of DuckTales 2017. I think it's called The Other Bin of Scrooge McDuck. Tell me what you think of the entire ongoing story with Lena and Magica. And the fact that the big ongoing story of the series is primarily female character focused. Lena, Webby, and Magica. the primary main ongoing story of this series centers around those three. Scrooge is, like, obviously relevant, but he's not, like, an active part of it, really. It's really just those three who are active in it. Obviously, Scrooge, again, he's relevant to it, he's important to it, and you know in the end he's going to become an active part of it. But as of now, he's been kind of a supporting role in the main story. His most active roles in episodes have been, you know, non-main story ones. So I just think that's interesting. Tell me your thoughts on all of that, though, and more in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live life.